You need a job.
No, I don't want a job.
Well, I know.
It's so much work.
But
I'm so tired from work. I don't want to do that.
Whenever you feel down about yourself, whenever you think you don't make enough money, you don't have enough money, you don't know what you're doing with your money, watch some of these videos. That's the whole point. People are way worse than you, I promise. And I love watching that intro clip because she just makes me laugh so hard. Nobody wants to work. But absolutely, I love that one. So we're back with another compilation of Caleb Hammer and Dave Ramsey and some of the worst people with money. So we're going to watch a couple of these. I hope you guys enjoy. As always, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of these. Let me know in the comments. I appreciate comments, even if they are negative. Let me know what I can be doing better. And let's jump straight into it.
Why do you need an Apple Watch? You don't. You're borrowing $100 just to survive.
Right.
You're not even wearing it!
No, they gave it to me, and it was an empty box, so I got all my money back.
My gosh. What do you buy at the university market?
Every morning I get
How much was
Star-
that? How much
Gosh.
was that? 30, 60. No, it must be $5. Yeah, $5.
What do you buy at the university market?
Every morning I get a Starbucks and a pastry.
Oh, what a
For $5,
joke.
that's not
Go to
bad.
Trader Joe's.
For $5, that's not bad, but you can't do that in this economy. You just can't. Everything is so expensive now.
Bake a thing of pastries. They're delicious.
Especially
and
if you're
brew a
broke.
coffee. It's easy.
You also got to look at her money and her stuff like that.
It doesn't matter what she's doing.
It does
doesn't matter
matter.
what
When I-
she's
when I-
doing.
when
If
I-
your spending is like that, it doesn't matter what
When
you
I have to support
So
both of
I
us,
watched a little bit of this one. He's like late 20s, early 30s, and she's in her 40s. So the immaturity is showing right there really strongly.
it does
You
matter.
going to the shop and gambling and doing some OF and spending all the money on fast food is not supporting her.
I don't agree with that.
How do you agree that paying to jerk it is not supporting her?
I do that because I feel like I get the bare minimum from her.
You're destined for failure with that mindset.
Marriage counseling, they're going to get divorced, no doubt it. Yeah, the visuals, not necessary. So this one, she didn't know that he was paying for OnlyFans, and he was paying a ton of money. If you're paying money for OnlyFans, the respect I have for you is minimal, very, very minimal. And everyone's saying, I hope she left him. She married a guy significantly younger, and she's terrible with money. It doesn't show it in this clip. I'm not saying that he's a good guy by any means, but they're both terrible. So maybe they should be together.
A lot of you spend a lot of money to impress people you will never meet with your car. And the stupid thing loses 60 to 70% of its value when you buy a new one in the first 4 years that you drive it. So you turn $30,000 into $11,000 and then scratch your head and wonder why you can't get ahead financially. What if all your investments, what if all your IRAs, you put money in a mutual fund, every time you did it, you turned $30,000 into 11? Well, everyone knows that's a formula for not getting rich. Hello. Now, if you've got enough money that you can throw $12,000 off the edge of a bridge and it not damage you, then you can afford to drive a car that expensive. But this idea that you can just, well, I can afford it, what most people mean when they say that is they think they can pay the payment if they keep their job. Well, let me help you with a new definition of I can afford it. I wrote a check and paid for it. A lot of you.
This one's interesting. So I fall into this category. I bought a car that was too much money, and now I didn't buy it new because it was out of my price range, but it was way too far in the high range of my price range, even used. And I love this car. I put a bunch of work into it. I love it. It's my baby. I'm going to drive it forever, which is my way of saying, oh, it was a good idea, although I know it's not. So I understand what Dave is saying with this. You cannot, people get destroyed. I've seen it time and time again. People that have $700 car payments, or they'll even buy a cheap car. They'll buy a $15,000 car and finance $10,000 of it. And it's like, why are you paying to finance it at 18%? Just save up if you can, you know? And I understand cars break down, you need a new one, but you also get the other end. This guy said, I bought a new car because I'm tired of older cars breaking down. Yeah, if you don't know the history of the vehicle, you have to be very, very, very particular in what you buy. But it's always a gamble. It's always more of a gamble, well, depending on the car you buy. I know Fords break down quite a bit, but some Fords, I should say. But it's always a gamble, more of a gamble buying a used car because you just don't know what it's been going through. What's worse than someone just in an insane amount of debt with very little money coming in is someone with an insane amount of debt and little money coming in with a kid.
What costs $10,000?
My music.
Your
Live.
music.
Yeah, I have a single. The album costs $10,000. Yeah.
Shouldn't we get out of debt before we do that?
The car, that's $17,000.
How does $17,000 sound crazy when you were just mentioning spending $10,000 on something that's not going to probably pay you money statistically.
How do you know about music?
I studied music in college. I'm okay with you taking massive risks. If we have a 6-month
She's
emergency
so
fund,
defensive.
we're keeping up with the retirement. How much do you have in retirement?
Nothing.
That's your child. Straight up. You're throwing $10,000 at something that statistically is most likely not going to be successful. Not saying it's not going to be, not saying I don't want it to be.
I'm
that.
manifesting that it's going to be successful.
Well, that's not how life works.
You are manifesting every single day of your life, whether you like it or not.
I show up and I get
know
done.
how many thoughts we have a day?
Thoughts.
Over 60,000 thoughts a day.
Wonderful!
And
what-
most of them are recycled.
Well, that's great. Congratulations to the recycled
you
thoughts.
know-
But what actually gets done is me turning those
80
thoughts into actual actions and getting done like a adult
Gene.
and not sitting here and thinking, oh, if I think this, then something's going to happen.
No.
That's not how it works. You go and you get done.
You can't do something without thinking it first.
No.
Okay,
then you
that's
gotta do it.
manifesting.
Oh my gosh, I'm so tired of this manifesting thing. There's this famous TikToker. I shouldn't say famous because most people don't know her. But she was like, yeah, if you manifest getting $1 million, you'll get there eventually. And it's like, so you're just saying if you think about it, like if you think about how to do it, is that different? I don't get it. It's all BS to me, but I think this is so funny. So I understand why he's pointing this stuff out. He's saying you spent $10K on this album that's probably not going to get you anywhere. Be realistic. It doesn't matter if you manifest it going viral and getting billions of listens and making you millions of dollars. It doesn't matter. Statistically, you're not likely to make enough money off of it for it to be a worthwhile investment. And that goes with everything. That goes with a ton of businesses. But the music industry is especially cutthroat in regards to that stuff. And he knows, I don't know if he knows the music industry or just music itself, but still, she got so defensive because he's saying like, yeah, but that was a big risk for very, very small chance of reward. And people get upset about that. So, yeah, but she has a kid. She's spending all this money. She's going to pop up over and over and over again because I think she's funny and she's very aggressive. And so it makes for great content. And a couple of his videos have her in different lights and we'll learn more about her coming up. But honestly, they continue to get worse and worse. So I hope you guys enjoy.
We had to figure it out without debt. We were bankrupt. No one would loan us money. So we didn't have an option. We don't borrow money, but we also can't borrow money. At that time, right? So I got to put something on Craigslist and sell it. I got to go work a side gig, and I need some money by Friday. There's this absoluteness. That's not a word to this. You don't have an option, and when you burn the boats and you can't leave, you've got to deal with what's in front of you.
You'll innovate and figure it out.
This one's interesting. So the reason Dave doesn't use debt and why he recommends against it is because he used it and it destroyed his life. So then he went bankrupt, and so that's what he's saying is they couldn't get any debt. So they decided, oh, well, we'll just not use it. And so he's stuck with that. He doesn't use debt. My problem with this is you can use debt wisely. I've done it. People have done it. Millionaires and billionaires do it all the time. Now, I'm not a millionaire. So I'm not saying that you will be able to do it no matter what, but if you use it wisely and you think everything through and you have a plan, you can use it well. Think about real estate investing. Are you going to wait until you can afford a property outright to buy it? Are you going to wait to buy a quadplex at $800,000? Are you going to save up $800,000 in cash? It's the safer bet, but how long is that going to take you? A long time. So really, that's what it comes down to. You can use debt wisely, in my opinion. Dave Ramsey, his whole thing is not using debt, so he will say that to the end. Even if some guy asked him on a podcast, or it was that one popular guy, and they said if you had $20,000 in debt that you could get for interest-free for 5 years, would you do it? And he said, no, I don't do debt. So with interest-free for 5 years, you could put it in the stock market, you could put it into bonds or T-bills, and you could make 3 to 5% or 10% in the stock market if you have a good year, and then boom, pay all the money back and keep your profit. And he said, no, I wouldn't do it. He just doesn't do debt, and that's his thing, and that's okay, but it doesn't mean it's the best option.
Oh, this doesn't make any sense. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life today, right now.
What's that?
Your dog was sick.
Yeah.
You took care of your dog.
Yeah.
You put it on a credit card.
I put it on Care Credit, yeah.
That's okay. You didn't have the money, and you're getting on a thing, and you're not going to let your dog die.
Right.
Then you go and pay it off as quick as possible instead of spending $600 in a single month on fast food. You pay it off. It's okay
So this confused me a little bit. She didn't pay it off. That's what he's saying. He's saying you should have paid it off instead of spending $600 a month in fast food. How do you? I mean, it's easy to do. 2 meals a day, 5 days a week, and you're there. But
then grind to pay it off. $600 a month in fast food. Do you not remember the conversation we had last time? What's happening?
She was already
What's
on the
happening?
show.
What's happening?
I didn't really think it was that much.
You said you track your
I do.
Then no, you don't. Then you don't look at it. You track it, but you don't look at it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so she was like the spreadsheet queen or whatever is what he called her, because she had spreadsheets for everything she was doing, but she didn't change any of her ways. She just kept spending the money. She would document it all, but she just kept spending it. So I'm not going to watch the whole clip. This one's not as interesting. I just feel bad for her a little bit because she has zero self-control. And so I hope she fixes things. This is, like I said, the second time on the show. So she was already here. He already relatively fixed or gave her guidance on what she should be doing, and she's already spending $600 on fast food. The lowest I've done is $120 a month on groceries. That is an insane difference. She is spending so much money on fast food. And it's not good for you. It's not healthy. So what's the point? That's the thing. It's like a triple negative. It's not good for you. It doesn't usually taste good. It just depends on how you're feeling. Plus, it costs you more money. So why? I don't get it. Fast food's a big deal, and younger generations, my generation loves it, and I get it, but it's not even fast food anymore because, I mean, I went to McDonald's like 3 months ago. I have not been back. I was devastated. I bought a double cheeseburger and fries, and I think that was it, and it was like $11. Like, it was an insane, like, fries are like $4 now. I think I got something. Maybe I got a drink too, because that doesn't sound right. But $11, fast food used to be $4. And that's why you could go to a restaurant for $15 and you get fast food for $4. Now fast food's $12, restaurants are $20, but we're just slowly all losing all of our money to food that's slowly killing us. Like, that's a tangent, but still, I just don't get it. A little bit of some comedic relief as we go through people's finances and how terrible they are.
You ever been in a pyramid scheme?
No.
I've been in a couple. They had a dude when somebody was selling like glitter mining or something in our area. Screwed everybody.
I remember in the 80s, everybody decided that emus were going to be the new meat. And so all these rednecks are buying.
This is unbelievable.
All these rednecks are making emu
why.
farms. And a lot of people decided they were going to sell everything and open an emu farm.
Roll down a little bit. Let me see what we got.
So he's got a little meat on him.
Oh, gosh, yeah. My buddy won his family's football pool. It was like their NCAA, their college football pool they did every year. He won, it was like $600.
Okay, interesting. So emus, environmentally, they're eco-friendly. Nutritionists gushed over the health benefits, saying it was good. And you can make leather out of it and decorative eggshells. So I wonder why it didn't work. I mean, people just like beef more, I'm sure.
Dude. He was so excited he could have changed his life. And instead, his mom convinced him to buy a Christmas village of like rare Christmas village houses.
Oh, yeah. They're back.
My buddy to this day is
he's big into Christmas houses. No rent. Rent isn't much. The tenants don't make much noise.
And the street lights are always on.
Electric bill's low.
Running into a lot of issues, but God, that just broke him, man. He never recovered from that.
He never recovered from $600. I mean, I get it. $600 is not a small amount of money, but it's just so funny how you get I've seen people talk about this with the lottery winners. All of a sudden you have all this money and boom, it's gone. You do 3 things that you were excited for, you buy 3 things and boom, the money's gone. So he spent it all on a Christmas village. I didn't even realize how crazy that is. Not even something you can use year round. Like, it's not like it's an electric scooter or something that you can actually use and enjoy. A Christmas village that sits there maybe a month out of the year. Wild.
You already are $300 under what you need to survive.
Caleb Hammer is he's so funny. This is Caleb Hammer on YouTube, TikTok. Check him out.
$300
So entertaining.
Under what you need to survive. Convention. I don't give a about a single convention.
This girl's sweet though. I feel bad.
So, you want me to not go to this
Oh,
convention?
you.
You don't want me to go to this convention then? Like, just stop?
Yes.
Yeah?
Was that not clear?
Yeah, I guess so. I just won't go.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know how he's so mean to her.
But, yeah,
Where is it?
Dallas.
Okay, so it's where you live, essentially.
Yeah.
Pack a sandwich, put it in a cooler in your car, eat there, and you go to the convention. Just don't spend money at the convention.
Okay. I'll make sure.
Okay, so that's what you meant.
So I'll have my best friends. Don't hold my hand then tonight.
My brain was just on fire from that. You already spent the money. Just don't spend any more money. No new conventions. Don't spend money.
I mean, she could sell a ticket. That'd probably be the better option. But here's the thing. Here's the argument that people get into, and I've seen this over and over and over and over and over. People want to live to a certain standard, and it's hard because you are in a mixed up where we're in a society where you can get the money to do stuff that you want to, even if you don't have it. Credit cards, loans, all that kind of stuff. So younger generations are tired of the idea of living paycheck to paycheck, saving as little as they can, paying 50, 60% of their income to rent. So I understand it, and there's a big movement going like, okay, well, then I'm just going to live like this until I die, and I'll die early, and it's so sad. But honestly, if people want to make those decisions, it's up to them. It's up to them. But I hope she's doing well now. I wish her the best. This is one that I completely have strong opinions on.
First house with my wife. My in-laws are being generous and lending us about $100,000 to help with the down payment.
You all aren't going to like my answer. I would recommend you don't take out a loan with your in-laws.
Oh, really?
The borrower is slave to the lender, and when you owe your father-in-law money, Thanksgiving...
These are good points.
Yeah. All right.
This is how families end up not speaking to each other. They're probably very kind, not controlling people. That will all change the first time you miss a payment.
Mm.
And suddenly where you went on vacation, the brand of the kids' clothes matters. Mm-hmm. They're looking at every decision you make with money as to whether they get paid or not. They can't keep from doing it because they're human beings. Now, how bitter they are, angry they are, or toxic they are in response to those situations could be different depending on how wonderful people they are. But it doesn't matter. You're going to feel different. Your wife won't feel as much of it as you will, but you're going to feel it. Mm. And so that's my speech. I would not do that. I would highly recommend. I will never loan my children money, ever. Now, I may give them some money if I've got some extra money. To do something like you're talking about, I would make that a gift, personally. But that's pretty bold to ask for that on your part. But I would buy a house that your down payment plus your mortgage that you can afford would purchase, not an in-law loan.
I'm looking to buy my...
Okay, so my opinions on this, and it's going to vary differently. Let me know if you have a negative experience. Some people in the comments had negative experiences, and people agree with Dave. It's rare you see all of his comments agree with him because there's just people that hate Dave Ramsey, and so they're in his comments all the time. Or there's people that love him and say that he can do no wrong. When it comes to this, let me explain my story. So I purchased a house over a year ago, and I borrowed about $15,000 from my parents for a down payment. Now, my mom, it was actually out of my mom's account, so I do everything through her. And when it comes to borrowing money for a down payment, you don't borrow it. It is legally a gift. You are not required legally to pay it back. And that is because you can't borrow a down payment for a house. Maybe you can, but most can't. So the point is, I borrowed this, and it has been nothing but successful. I pay my mom back, not on a schedule, but we just talk about it. We're very, very communicative, and I am very close with my parents. So I'm always talking to my mom. Now, here's the thing that they're talking about. You will be under a microscope to an extent, because if you go on expensive vacations, or if you're eating out a lot, or if you're buying nice things, you probably should be using that money to pay them back. And so I just communicate with my mom. So for instance, I'm redoing the front landscaping in my house, and the rock, the sod, everything costs a lot of money. And so I'm going to be paying to do that. But I reached out, I spoke with my mom first. I said, I want to do this. It's going to cost me roughly this much. If you need this money back soon, then I will pay you back now, or I will continue and pay you back less on my schedule and with what works. Now, my mom was like, nope, it's fine. You can redo the front yard. I know it's an important thing to you because my house looks messed up right now because of it. And so that was just pure understanding. No problems. She communicates to me and we're set. If you don't do that, then you're in trouble. Then everything that you spend, you shouldn't have spent and stuff like that. But here's what I'm going to do. I don't pay my mom interest. So there is no real benefit to me paying her off sooner. And that's not what she wants. She wants to be paid. So I'm consistent and I pay her because I know it's what she wants. What I plan on doing is I have a friend who has a very It comes from a successful family, but they were very strict on what they allowed the kids to get, handout wise. So he built himself up with his wife, and so their parents worked, or their parents, so his kids' grandparents, they worked as a central bank. They have millions of dollars. They are very wealthy, like I said, and so what they do is they just loan their money out. So instead of you paying the bank 5% interest, you would pay your grandparents 3%. And so they do that with houses for all of the grandchildren and even the great-grandchildren eventually, because this huge amount of money sits there. And here's the bonus to it. There's contracts. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it on the legal side that they're very careful with. So everyone owes them that money. It's not just I'm not going to pay you kind of thing, but they get better interest rates and they can get more money if they want it. I'm sure that they're strict on it to an extent, but all of that money they make off the interest payments and all the money. So you borrow from your grandparents for 30 years. All the interest you pay to your grandparents is going to come back down to your parents and then back down to you eventually. So the money is staying in the family instead of going to banks. That's my goal, to do that with my family. I think it's amazing. And I've thought about it ever since he spoke to me about that. And it is just such a smart way of doing things. You're not getting handouts. They are giving you money, but you're getting a better interest rate and you're still paying them back. But in the end, you're paying yourself that money as well. So let me know what you guys think about that. I understand it can be rough borrowing money from in-laws especially. So it's definitely a case-by-case thing. And for me, it's worked out amazingly. But for others, I'm sure it has not worked out well. And that can be terrible, being on bad terms with family. The comments are rough.
I'm divorced.
You have a kid, though.
Yeah. He goes to a private school, and I still pay for it by myself.
Why does he go to a private school?
Do you want to get into the educational system right now?
What's the question? What are you?
Because
Why are
I
you like
care
the most
about my
offensive-
son's education.
Why are you the
I've not seen a lot of 40-year-olds with a nose ring.
most offensive person that's ever existed on this planet? I just asked.
Well, the
give
way
me a
that you
reason.
asked it.
I asked, why does he go to a private school?
Yeah, but you asked in a tone, okay? So
I always have a tone.
Okay, well, I'm going to have a tone too. I want him to have a great education. I'm a teacher. I know what public school education system entails. I know.
What do you mean?
firsthand.
I went to a public school.
I did too.
Is that why you can't afford your own place? Because you went to a public school?
What does that have to do with it?
You're trying to use it as an excuse like it's bad. I went to public school. I'm fine.
It is bad.
You went to... What do you mean? No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's horrendous.
It depends on the area.
Where he was born in Philly, the schools suck there too. Just
How
the
much is the
crime
private
rate,
school?
It's $200 a month. I'm divorced.
That's not that bad. Private schools are usually more than that. That's not that bad. She is very aggressive. Like I said, she's very defensive. She gets mad very quickly, and he fires back, which I like. The comments, though. Bro's not even married to her, and he's thinking of divorcing her. All chatter aside, $200 a month is not bad for a private school. Yeah, she's so defensive. Can't imagine why anyone would ever divorce this sweet woman. This one's interesting. I am a mix because I went to private school, and then in high school I switched to a charter school, which was public, and there's benefits to both. I was really grateful for my education from both, and I don't regret it, really. So it just depends on the situation in the area, but I get it. He's saying how you're spending all this money, you have all this debt. Why are you paying for school when public school is free? But that is, if you're going to splurge on anything, splurge on your kids' education, splurge on their future, but also have some retirement so that they're not paying off all of your debt when you die. This one's a little sketchy.
Why is it that he won't share with his wife the money that you have?
In the beginning, because I was the one in debt coming into the marriage.
How long have you been married?
20 years.
I've been married 43. If the stuff I did stupid in the
He's gonna
first
hold that
7
over
years
her
of
head
marriage was
forever?
still counted against me, I probably wouldn't be alive.
I know.
So I don't, what you did 20 years ago doesn't count. Why is it that 20 years into your marriage you don't know what's going on with the money? Why does he not think you're worthy of that?
Probably because I haven't pushed it. Every time I push it, he just doesn't want to get into it, and I just kind of back off. And
How can we help you?
how do I get out of this? I don't know if it's a mindset I'm stuck in or if it's just I'm scared. I just kind of want to get out of the hold of just not knowing.
I mean, I don't want to be a smart aleck or anything, but the way you get out of the hole of not knowing is you start knowing. You sound sweet and you sound so apologetic, like you've done something wrong for asking about your life, and you don't owe anybody an apology for that.
Yeah, this is a dependency thing. I don't like this kind of stuff when I see it because it really leaves one person with all the power, and that's scary because having one be completely dependent on the other is not good. It's a partnership. You're supposed to both work together, not have one controlling everything.
You don't need to be a jerk about it, but you do need to lean in hard enough that he decides he's going to share with you and say, listen, I am terrified because I do not know what's going on. It's not okay that I don't know what's going on. And starting right now, I'm going to know what's going on, or we're going to have other problems in this house.
Okay.
Can you find that much roar in your voice?
Yes. It's just, I can't live. It's like a 5-year-old that throws a fit. You know, he goes into that mode.
Yeah, you sound like someone who's been, who's the subject of domestic abuse, the way you're verbalizing it. Like it's all your fault that he's misbehaving.
I think it's the way I grew up with money. I'm the youngest of 5 kids.
How you grow up with money has a huge impact on how you are with money. People need to understand that. You need to look into your how you grew up, think about it, because it has a huge impact on everything.
And there's a huge age difference between me and my siblings. And
yeah, how old are you?
I am 47.
Okay, it's time to grow up then.
Yeah.
As of right now, you're like a
She does sound very nice,
47-year-old
though.
grown woman. And if he absolutely refuses to share with you what's going on in the finances, when you point blank demand that as a equal share in this marriage, then you guys need to go see a marriage counseling, to which Bozo's not going to go.
I love the word
by
bozo.
yourself and learn how to speak Bozo, and that's what the marriage counselor will do. They teach you how to speak that.
I love the word bozo. And here's another thing the comments pointed out. He's probably hiding something. There was someone that called into this, and it was actually the wife had called in saying she'd lost, what was it, the husband? I don't remember. But they had called in and said, I've lost all of my spouse's retirement money on some crazy financial bet or whatever. And literally they were out of money, and the wife, I think it was a man, and the wife had no idea. And so she's living her normal life, spending her normal life. And Dave even said in this one, he said, you have to tell them because they're spending all this money thinking that they have money to spend and they don't. And so he was hiding it, and he was going into debt himself to pay her debt or to pay her bills because she thought the money was just coming out of the accounts, but he had separate accounts. It was such a mess. And everyone in the comments was like, oh, divorce. And they're saying that here too because something's up. You don't just do that. Something's going wrong. He's hiding something, and it does sound abusive, which is so sad because she's so sweet. But I hate seeing these kind of things in relationships. The last and final part of the single mom.
You live with your mom at 40? Why?
Because I can't afford it. What does it matter? Like 40, at 50, at 60? Some people are homeless at 70.
Yeah. Don't you want to be more independent?
Yes, but I can't afford it right now.
You make $3,466 a month. 30% would get you $1,000 a month in rent. Is what you could afford. If you're not able to do that, that means your spending is out of whack.
I mean, I like to spend. I like my Starbucks.
No, I don't go there. I like beans that taste good.
Look, it's delicious. I mean, I won't let you sip from it because that's gross.
You're like so defensive. This is like wild.
You're asking me about my personal finances.
What did you
think the show
was?
Like really grilling me on my Starbucks.
What did you think the show was?
It's my Starbucks.
You signed up for this show. What do you think this is?
What do you want me to like not ever drink coffee? Like I should just be at home drinking water.
That's the fucking stupidest thing I've ever heard. Oh my gosh, I can't even do words right now.
Am I making you nervous?
How about this? Don't buy Starbucks every day if you can't afford rent. I'm not one of those don't ever buy Starbucks kind of people, but if you cannot literally afford rent and be an actual adult at 40, then yes, we don't do Starbucks.
I am an adult, okay?
Yeah, so here's the thing. People that are poor that keep spending are going to stay poor. And he's trying to fix it. You're not going to be able to fix it. She's going to keep doing it. People have to make a change on their own. And there's a lot of people that don't know a lot about finance, but most people know something, and they're not putting it to work. They're not utilizing it. So she knows that she can't afford Starbucks. She lives with her mom. She makes very little money every month. And so she knows that. So you can only do so much. You can't make her stop spending. She's going to keep doing this, and she's 40. She's 40, which is not that old in the timeline of our lives. But to start out with nothing at 40 is hard to do. But what's even harder is to relearn everything that you've been doing and completely change your spending habits and all your choices. On top of that, getting rent for $1,000 is not going to work. I think the show is in Texas. I think that's where Caleb Hammer lives and where he does the show. And so I was actually just in Texas for a trip. and stayed at a friend's apartment, and it was a 2-bed, 2-bath, and I think they paid like $1,800 or a little bit under that. So you can find it depending on where you are, but it wasn't the best place. It wasn't renovated. It wasn't updated, and it was right next to a jail. So that's kind of a bummer, but honestly, low rent, get stabbed, but be able to afford stuff, buy your Starbucks. It depends on what you want. This one, I got a lot to say about this one, so we're just going to do it. We're just going to go.
Of the number of people that start college, how many graduate? 52%. That's an investment in my future. Said the other 48% that are sitting at home with no freaking degree, but by God, they got the student loan debt. And you know how you get rid of Sally Mae? You either pay her off in full or you die. That's the only way that woman goes away. It's not bankruptable. It is not an investment in yourself to borrow, even if it is an investment. We don't borrow money for investments. We don't borrow money for investments. I don't teach people to borrow money. The borrower is slave to the lender. That's what this math says. When you give up your income, when you give your income away, you have nothing. All the money comes in. All the money goes out. But by God, we're sitting around counting our Discover points. Oh, we got airline miles. Oh, Sally Mae's been with us for 15 freaking years in our spare bedroom. All because we called it an investment. I don't understand why it's bad. It's bad because it's stupid and you're normal. 70% of the Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That's stupid because you're living in one of the wealthiest countries the world has ever known, and there you sit like a rat in a wheel, run. Why? Because student loans are an investment and I'm going to Best Buy. This is just stupid. It's stupid on steroids. Really, seriously, you've got to stop and
This is an old clip. You can tell by the background. Okay, a lot to unpack here. I understand what Dave is saying. And even the caption, negative effects of student loans, 53% of those who got student loans regret it. So I'm an interesting opinion on this. So my story, I haven't talked about this a lot on the channel because it's not about me, but I think it's really, really important to talk about in this setting. I have 2 degrees. I have 2 bachelor's degrees, and I did that because I was going to go to med school. So I have a degree in biology and a degree in U.S. history. Now, I got those degrees because it sets you up better for med school, and then late in my college, my college time, I realized that med school was not going to be for me because I didn't want to go. I didn't want to keep going to school, and I calculated how much I would have to spend in loans or get in loans and then pay off and how much money I would make and how long it would take me, and I didn't want to keep doing that until I was 38, 39, 40, and that's what I calculated. Because I wasn't going to get any assistance and there's no scholarships. And so it was not going to work out for me. And so I changed. It was a huge life decision and a big mix up. And so what I did was I started working a contract job. Now this contract job, you got paid more if you had a degree. And so that was key. I had a degree and I was making $28 an hour with overtime and double time once I hit over 12 hours. And I was making, if I had done it for a year, I would have made over 6 figures. But I did it for about 9-10 months. And I made, I don't even remember how much, 70, 80, 90,000 roughly. I was making insane money for what I needed. And so it was a great opportunity. And so what I did then after that, I paid off about 2/3 of my student loans and I switched to a different, slower job, less work hours, but more pay hourly and better history, better move up opportunities and stuff like that. And you have to have a degree for this job. I'm a biologist for a living. You have to have the degree. And there will always be bio positions. There will always be specified positions that require degrees. And you can't get around that at all. So I understand what he's saying, but you have to have a plan. I got lucky. I could have very easily hated bio. I've always liked bio, but I could have hated it and hated the jobs in the field and been screwed and have 2 degrees that are useless. Because I looked for my history degree and I could either teach history or be a librarian or a historian. So I definitely understand where Dave is coming from this. If you have a plan or you get lucky, then you're set. But if not, be very careful before you just dive into college. Community colleges are great. Now to touch on the whole subject of pay for it in full. You can't do that. And this is an old video. It's outdated. It was probably outdated when Dave said it, I'll be honest. But you cannot, to pay for college in full is nearly impossible. I calculated out, if you wanted to work a minimum wage job, it was literally going to take me like 5 or 6 years. And that's if I wasn't paying any rent. So if I had extremely low bills and I just worked, I'd be able to pay for college. But then you also have to pay for all the stuff while you're in college, like your food, books, all the necessities. So it doesn't make sense. So I understand he's against debt. All my loans are under 5%. My loans that I have outstanding, I still have some left. Like I said, I have a third left. Most of them are in the 3 to 4% range, and I have one that's at 5% that I'm paying down first. So it really all comes down to the individual case by case basis, and you can't tell someone that they were wrong for what they did because you never really know. But I understand Dave's point. I just think he's out of touch with this. And if you hate that and you're mad at me in the comments, feel free. It's an out of touch way to look at it, unless people want to make student loans less predatory, or you want to make schooling cheaper, which I'm all for. But I'm also for people paying off their loans. And the comments here are interesting. Dave, I respect what you do. 81% of physicians in America have to take out student loans for med school. Without them, we'd have no doctors. Yes, and the 19% that don't take them out have rich parents. So unless you want only doctors to be rich people, which I don't want our crop of people that can be physicians to come from just rich families. I really don't. Because it's not as diverse. You don't have different backgrounds. You don't have different drives. I don't know. The rich people that I know with their rich kids, the kids are spoiled and they're not going to go to school to be a doctor. A lot of them. Some of them are, and that's great. How else are we going to get a college degree? You don't need a degree to be successful. People need to wake up and stop acting stupid. Dave's 100% right. No, he's not. Because if you have a specified thing that you want to do, you have one thing that you love to do, and you need a degree for it, get the degree. People have to have degrees. You have to have degrees. There's a reason for it. It's a lot of jobs aren't just, oh, you can't have a degree. They're degree specific. College can be a waste of money, but you can also learn a lot. So I don't agree with that. And this guy, 2-year degree, got an associate's degree, $12K in tuition, $160K a year. Pretty good investment for me, in my opinion. And boom, there you go. That's one of the bright sides to it. So it's a beautiful thing. Congrats to that guy. But case by case, cars, I can't. The car thing is just so bad.
So what is this? What is this? Because
we're not going to watch the whole thing. It's 5 minutes long. I can't listen to it that long.
3 of these Navy Federal consumer loans of just death. So we have, what is it?
Which one?
18%, $16,000.
That's a Corvette.
Okay. Well, a what?
2008 Corvette.
Not necessarily a daily driver.
413. These are going to add up. I already know.
They do.
Having obviously gone through
it. It's terrible.
It's terrible. Why do you don't need this, man? Okay. Okay. Let's step back for a second. Even though we've barely even dipped our toe into this. You make $105,000. How much was the car?
Car was 17.
Okay.
5.
You could afford that. That's great.
Yeah.
I could have got you to do that in cash. Okay. You don't do cash. That's fine.
Cash would be fine. Have it as a
okay,
toy.
You borrow for it. If we have to borrow at 18%, is this a car worth getting? I don't think so. No stock market return. No stock market return is going to beat that. So what the on a depreciating asset? Well, I don't know. A Corvette, is it? How well does this maintain value?
They kind of depreciate and then they hold value for a good while and they depreciate more. The only issue is that I blew up the engine running nitrous.
So you've blown up 2 engines?
3.
What are you? I'm confused.
Yeah, so he's addicted to cars. It's an expensive hobby. He likes to do it. My problem is who gave this guy an 18% loan if he's making $105,000 a year? That doesn't make sense to me. He's making an insane amount of money. Why would they give him an 18% loan? Maybe he was high risk. Maybe he just got the job. I don't know. But something's off there because even with high interest rates, 18% when you're making that much money is wild. Is absolutely wild. My all-time favorite. Here we go.
I think the best thing would be to start with a job.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. No. She needs a job.
No.
Not crying.
And I think it would be great if you volunteered some more at the soup kitchen. You could do some great volunteer work down there.
I did that.
No.
I started with a babysitter. I think my first job was at IHOP.
Well, you don't pay me to babysit. She makes me babysit for free.
She doesn't need a job babysitting. She needs a job in the world.
No.
She doesn't need a job at home. She needs a job in the world. You need a job.
No, I don't want a job.
Well, I know.
It's so much work.
But
I'm so tired from work. I don't want to do that.
I just love this. Come back and watch this whenever you need a boost. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember, like and subscribe if you like this content. I hope that you do, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. But until then, have a good rest of your day.